Hi guys, it's Harry, it's back in another video, and today is actually the night after, technically it's night now I guess, but it is the day after the No Mercy pay-per-view. For once today, I'm going to be doing a review of the entire pay-per-view. Now, sorry about that, but overall, I think the pay-per-view was a very solid one. Going into it, I had high hopes, and I think they've been met. I wouldn't say necessarily that it's gone over my expectations, and some things have gone below, but also some things have exceeded, and I'm going to talk about that now. Right, so let's get into this. So the first match was on the pre-show, which is Elias Sampson, just known as Elias now, versus Apollo Crews. Now, in my prediction video, that was my first video back in 5 months, I said that I believed that Elias would win because he's been on TV, I guess you can say prominently, doing stuff, whereas Apollo Crews is not really doing anything. I just had a hunch anyway, and I was correct. Elias did win. Now, so I got a cold. You can probably tell anyway. But with this match, to be honest, not really much to talk about it. It's just sort of don't think anyone had high hopes, and I didn't say anything. I just sort of felt like a bit of a bland match. I mean, you got some good competitors in there. I don't particularly enjoy Elias that much, but I can respect him in the way that he gets heel heat and he conducts himself and he knows how to work. So I can respect that. And also, in terms of Apollo Crews, he's always got that. He's had my respect. He's got the high-flying maneuvers. He's got power. He's got everything you sort of look for in a wrestler, I guess, except the charisma, pretty much. But yeah, he's pretty good. And the match was okay. It just wasn't anything, to write home about. It's just sort of a stereotypical, what you don't really know how to put it, but like it was what was expected anyway. Now, the second match is and the first match of the actual No Mercy pay-per-view was between Miz and Jason Jordan for the Intercontinental Championship. The first thing I want to know, I thought this was quite interesting, that Maurice wasn't actually there. She wasn't on Raw the week leading up to the pay-per-view, after they announced their baby, but I did assume that they'd be coming to the pay-per-view, and that's probably her main role now. She'll show up in important times, normally pay-per-views, maybe some important Raws, that sort of thing. But she wasn't there, and to be honest, the Miz Taraj sort of filled her role of getting butted in anyway, so I wouldn't say she necessarily missed too badly, but obviously it's just a fact. I thought I'd stay out, and as for the match, it was okay. I did sort of have more high hopes, to be honest. I've been really enjoying Jason Jordan at the moment, as you know, and I do like The Miz as well. And I just had a sort of feeling that this would be a really good match. And it wasn't a bad match. It just wasn't a really good match. Just sort of, like I said before, with the Elias Apollo Crews match. It had some really good spots, and I think that Jason Jordan come off looking strong in the end of this match, which is obviously great, because I'm really enjoying him at the moment. He's a very athletic young man. But yeah, he's been doing pretty well. And although he didn't win the match, so my prediction was wrong, so at this point I'm already 1-1. It was a decent enough match that I felt like, to be honest, it wasn't necessarily a bad thing that he lost. And I think so long as they're going for a chase and he can win it in the end, that's fine. But I'm not too sure. And he did, in fairness, wipe out the entire Miz Taraj and the Miz at separate points in the match. And it's just sort of, in fact, at actual point in the match, I vividly remember him stopping him outside and then suplexing the Miz into the Miz Taraj, which I thought was a really cool spot. But yeah, that was an okay match, I guess. Just sort of, I did expect a bit more. Now, the next match on the show, I believe this is the next match on the show anyway, was between Bray Wyatt and Finn Balor for nothing really. It was just a man versus man match to prove Finn Balor anyway. He wanted to prove that he was a strong, viable competitor and someone who was not just a demon. That the man behind the demon was a more powerful being than him. However, in the match, that was proven. I didn't think that it could be, and obviously everyone agrees with me here that the demon is quite entertaining. You've got the entrance, you've got everything. It's sort of different, more aggression. It's just cool. It looks cool. But yeah, he come out in some nice grey attire, which I thought looked quite nice, but just opinion. But yeah, and Bray Wyatt attacked him for the match, which is quite good. Getting a little bit of heel heat, proving he's dominant, and he wiped him out, even almost sent him to the back. Now, at that point, not the Miz. What am I on about? I'm still stuck in the last one. Bray Wyatt was braiding him on the mic, saying, "You're a coward. You're not a man. You're a coward. I'm a god. I'm not a man." And eventually, Bray Wyatt did it so much that Finn Balor just snapped, and literally just like that, he turns around, gets mad, and then charges back down to the ring. And they had a really good match. This is one of the matches that I actually wasn't really looking too forward to. But in terms of in-ring work, it was a really good one. And I didn't think it would be as good as it was. So I guess that was a pleasant surprise. Finn Balor walked away with the win, which I predicted at the end of the video after I forgot that. But yeah, so that put me 2-1 up in the predictions. Now the next match, and I'm probably, just like in the predictions, going to have forgotten some more as well. But I believe that the next match was between Sheamus and Cesaro for the WWE Raw Tag Team Championships when they went up against 2/3 of the Shield in Seth Rollins and Dean Ambrose. Now, this was arguably the match of the night. It was a very good match. And I think every time you see Cesaro and Sheamus get in the ring, they put on the show of the night. And the same goes for Seth Rollins and Dean Ambrose. They put on the show of the night. So when you combine them together, it's literally perfect because they're both teams that you know they're going to put on the best show. And that's why, obviously, they're at the top above other teams. Like, even though one of my favourite teams is the Hardy Boys, I feel like they're probably getting on now. I must still have a role to play, and I would love for them to have a feud with Sheamus and Cesaro, like they proved they could do competently, and not even necessarily competently, in a very good fashion against the Shield rather. But they deserve to be the two teams in that match tonight. Now, I had some very good spots. Notably, if you watch the match, Cesaro's entire face turned to blood, and blood was going everywhere because in a botched spot where Cesaro is meant to go into the turnbuckle, he flew forward, boom, whacked his mouth, I believe on the sort of like hexagon thing behind the actual turnbuckles, and broke his 2 teeth in half, so he's bleeding everywhere throughout the match. But surprisingly, he was still like laughing and being happy and stuff. So, you know, good on him. And it's not necessarily the biggest injury, but that one must have hurt like hell. And now he's got 2 front teeth missing, so you got to applaud him for that. But yeah, this is probably one of the matches of the night. My favourite spot of this match, which probably everyone will agree with, is when, just like at SummerSlam, where I believe Sheamus had Dean Ambrose in the white noise, and Cesaro was going to do the thing where he jumps at the top and like pushes down like the tag team finisher, and then Seth Rollins jumped up and Hurricane Randed him into it to set up the end sequence. Now in this one, they go for it again, but this time obviously showing that they've got the expertise and giving a link back to the last pay-per-view, which is very nice always, but also shows that they're clever competitors, not just like brainwise. Did I just contradict myself? Clever competitors, not brainwise. Like, I don't know. You get what I mean. They show that they've improved and they've actually scouted them. Anyway, Cesaro catches Seth Rollins, hoists him up. Sheamus hits the white noise, and then boom, powerbomb right onto it. And I thought, right, that's probably going to be the end of the match. 1, 2, kick out, and then in the end, just like I predicted, Cesaro and Sheamus were defeated by 2/3 of the Shield, Seth Rollins and Dean Ambrose. And I believe that puts me, 3-1 up now? Yeah, so at this point I'm doing very good in my predictions. Now, I'm not sure if I mentioned this in my predictions video, and I'm pretty sure I did. My least excited match let me put that differently. The match that I was least anticipating to be a good match was a fatal 5-way between Nia Jax, current champion Alexa Bliss, Bayley, Emma, and Sasha Banks. Now, going into this match, I thought this was just going to be a little bit of a rest for me. I can just relax a bit more. And in fairness, I almost went to sleep during the entrances. In fairness, I don't run like that, close my eyes a bit, doze off them. Literally woke myself up just for the end of the entrances, just in time for the match. And I was quite drowsy in this match, so I guess it was a good thing this match was an absolute blinder, because if it was a boring match, I could have easily seen myself just falling asleep. But this match kept me on the edge of my seat and it kept me up. And that's saying something, because when I'm tired, I go to sleep. Right, this match was absolutely superb. You had Nia Jax, who everyone was sort of, I think, underestimating, sort of, especially after the WrestleMania where she didn't win. But she looked absolutely dominating. She probably dominated the entirety of the match, besides small points. But she also took most of the beatings as well, like the big ones. Notably, the double powerbomb where I think it was 2 people on the outside, I can't remember who, but then 2 people did the drop kick from the inside to give the force, and she sort of landed on her neck and rolled over. And I don't mean this in a bad way, but that could, especially with her like weight of landing on her shoulders, it's like already dangerous plus that. But she did it superbly, and that just sort of shows that she's a safe, competent wrestler. And I think that's quite important actually, because some people have seen her before and sort of said, well, no, she's not safe, and she's not necessarily someone you want at the top because she injures people. But I just think that, to be honest, that's probably bad luck. The moves she's doing, yeah, they're more physical and you're more likely to get injured. But then you look at Braun Strowman, he does exactly the same thing. And how many times have you probably said to yourself, oh, no, don't want Braun Strowman win that Universal title, he's going to injure everyone. The same thing, they're both competent wrestlers. And I keep saying competent, like sort of things like that throughout the video. Don't know why, but anyway. But this match was absolutely superb. And once again, you know me, I know my stuff, what I'm talking about, right? And Alexa Bliss, she retained, just like I said, interference. Bayley knocks the person, I think Emma, off the apron and then spins around into the DDT. Don't know what it's called, her DDT, to be honest. But anyway, let's go with it. The Bliss DDT. And 1, 2, 3. Probably a bit disappointing it was Bayley to take the pin, but I probably would rather Emma. But at the same time, you know, what can you do? And yeah, I can see Alexa Bliss versus Asuka being a very entertaining feud. But I do think, I will talk about this possibly in another video, but I'm just going to allude to it here. I think that Asuka's opponent won't be that championship straight away. I think she's going to go for it, and then someone's going to get in our way, and then someone maybe from NXT, Bayley, don't know if she faced Sasha Banks, I don't believe so, but maybe Bayley, Nia Jax, one of them, and then lead into perhaps Survivor Series versus Alexa Bliss. But the next match after this one, now I'm trying to think, and I think this is the 3 main ones now. Well, no, this is the first of the 2 main ones rather. And it was Roman Reigns versus John Cena. And whilst I think technically it wasn't the best match, and I'd say that the women's match, which for some reason they always surprise me, and I don't have high hopes, but they always do surprise me. And that one was possibly more entertaining with the spots wise, and just kept me on the edge of my seat. And also, but don't get me wrong, this match did really keep me on the edge of my seat. It's probably one I was most excited for. But yeah, and then as for technical, I think the tag team match was probably better. But in terms of pure spectacle, and that you knew pretty much that this match was not necessarily once in a lifetime, because it I do have a feeling this will happen again. Like perhaps at WrestleMania, just with less disrespect and more like I want a chance at my payback, that sort of thing. But I do think it sort of signified at the end of the match a changing of the guard. Like I predicted this, and I'm pretty sure everyone did before, that Roman Reigns would win this match, and he did. But that didn't disappoint me. I did wear that John Cena top proudly, and I did think that, you know, John Cena. I never had any sort of thought in my mind before I watched the show that John Cena was going to win. I was almost 100% sure that it would be Roman Reigns walking out with the title. But what I think was important was the fact that it wasn't just a match where they just solely relied on the power of, well, we've got this big player, we'll just chuck them in together. They built the story and the promos and everything. It was so passionate. They had the best story going into it, and they did live up to the expectations. At the beginning, it was a bit boring, a bit bland, and I think everyone would agree. I've said that 3 times already. I keep saying things many times in this video, but I guess this is the thing with me. I just always go on and on and on and repeat myself. But anyhow, anyway, let me just reset myself. There we go. Now we can continue. Right, at the beginning of the match, it was a bit disappointing. Well, I hate to say a bit because it was very disappointing. It wasn't slightly disappointing. It was incredibly disappointing. It just sort of was, Cena flops and then staggers, and it was building up Roman to be a big power. We knew that already. I don't think we necessarily needed that much, and it was so uncompetitive and so slow and sluggish. It just killed the entire excitement. And then when John Cena started building up a comeback, that's when the match started for me. And I think that could have been better. If they wouldn't have had that sort of a rocky start, then it definitely would have made the pay-per-view so much better. And especially perhaps if this went on last, rather than Braun Strowman and Brock Lesnar. But I'll get into that in a bit. But the match was quality. You had some spots like the spear through 2 tables from one outside. I keep going on and stuttering. But anyway, from one announce table to the other, which actually happened at WrestleMania to The Undertaker. So it's sort of a callback, but also sort of a bit like think of some new spots at the same time. But it was nice. It wasn't too bad. And Reigns landed on his neck actually, and it did look a bit scary. But you know, he's the big dog, and he will never go down. And you know, it's Roman Reigns. And anyway. So he got back up and he was okay, luckily. And they finished the match and they did quality. I did also like the spot where John Cena hit 1 AA, then rolled through. I'm pretty sure he'd done it before, but it just looked so good. And then hit another AA. And that was the one point of this match where I think I hit peak excitement. Because I was wearing the John Cena top. I was certain Roman Reigns was going to win. I knew it. And I think this is one of the most amazing parts of wrestling. And just like TV and stuff in general, when you're almost, you know something's going to happen, like a death in TV show, Roman Reigns winning. And then just for that split second, those 3 seconds, or 5 seconds after he hits it, you just know, oh my God, he's going to win it. And it just completely changes it. And you get so lost in the actual action that is so good. And even when Roman Reigns kicked out, I was literally ecstatic because I was shocked, and it was probably one of my favourite... No, not one of. That was my favourite part of the match because it was actually shocking. And I thought, oh my God, Cena's won it. He's actually going to done it. I thought he was going to reverse second one, spear, but he actually didn't, and he allowed it. And that did make Cena look a bit weak considering he hit, I think it was 4 or 5 actual adjustments the whole match. But it was the best part because everyone, I'm hoping, not just me, because it is probably the best part, in my opinion, of a wrestling show. was on the edge of their seat, and they did actually lose the sort of thing where we're an outside person. It puts you in it. Right now, I'm an outside person, and I think obviously I don't know a lot about wrestling. I'm not a professional wrestler, so I can't say too much about it. My limited knowledge is what I've learned from videos and other things that I've seen of wrestlers. But you sort of, like, I mean, it's fake. You sort of, like, you put things together like, oh, Roman Reigns is in the back. He's the new top guy. He's going to do this. He's going to do that. They want him to win. And that, when you're doing predictions, that's the sort of thing you go for. Like, well, they won't have all the titles change. They're not going to have just no titles change. They're going to have heels win, face win. You've got to count it all in. But in that 5 seconds that happens, your mind goes away from all of that stuff, and you just get dragged back into being like a kid, and you get so engaged in it, and it's just absolutely perfect. It's probably the best part. But anyway, I was rambling on about that match. Probably one of my favourite matches of the night. I don't know if I can say genuinely what one was my favourite, because it was a pretty decent night of wrestling. Now, that was the height of the show, and after that the crowd died off a bit. But the next 2 matches were, how do I put this, downhill. The first match was Adrian Neville, the King of the Cruiserweights, versus Enzo Amore for the Cruiserweight Championship. Now, as I'm thinking about this match, every time I think about it, I come back to the conclusion that's just sort of like, I don't really know how to put it, other than just boring. Like, it just was. I have to admit, it was really boring. And the ending, where it was unexpected, but it just made Neville look so weak. If you don't know what happened, pretty much Enzo stole the title, brought it in the ring. Then when the ref took it off him and turned his back, he just hoofed him in the nuts. Let me try and get him up. Hoofed him in the nuts. And then rolled him up, 1, 2, 3. And Neville didn't stand a chance. It's sort of like, if it was that easy, then why, when, I'm pretty sure they've had like disqualification matches before with Austin Aries and him, why didn't they just go boom once in the nuts, 1, 2, 3, easy? And he was lying down for ages afterwards. I know it's painful, but it's wrestling. You're meant to think, like, you see it before, and a low blow, and like, and they fall down in the wrong low place, but you've never seen them get pinned before. I didn't even want Enzo to win, and I got that prediction wrong, actually, so that's a bit disappointing, but not much you can do, and I just got to hope that Enzo can do good with the title. And now for the final match, we have Brock Lesnar versus Goldberg. No, I'm getting so, like, drawn into it for some reason, just crazy because of the night up. But Braun Strowman, the monster amongst men, and the monster amongst men every week before, running power slam, suplex up, running power slam, and there's no stopping Braun Strowman. And on the night, one Kimura lock, and he literally turned into James Ellsworth for a couple of, and the crowd was so uninterested. They sort of used all their energy up in the Roman Cena match that everything after that, the crowd was just dead. So no matter what happened, the crowd was pretty much silent. Well, from what I saw otherwise, I may be wrong because it was quite late. But yeah, it just seemed a bit like dead. And I think maybe if the crowd was more engaged, it would engage me more. But I don't know, to be honest. I thought I was going to enjoy it a bit more. But I don't really know, to be honest. I thought I was going to enjoy it more, and I don't think I enjoyed it as much as I thought I would. And especially when Brock Lesnar won in the end, not Braun Strowman, I felt like it just sort of sucked the life out of me. I think if Braun Strowman would have won that match, which most people wanted to happen, everyone would have left happy, and the show would have been more held highly in history than what actually happened. And I just feel like it was a bit of a bummer, really. And the fact that Brock Lesnar might not even show up again until Survivor Series now. And Braun Strowman got literally that whole last year of building him up, the amount of time spent destroying Brock Lesnar, and then a Kamara lock, and then he's just dead. I don't see what you do with Braun Strowman anymore. And and to be honest, I have no doubts that something good will come out of it, hopefully. Because before this, you think a year ago, no one thought Braun Strowman was a good wrestler, or that necessarily he would be good enough to face for a title shot, that sort of thing. Whereas now, everyone was wanting him to win. So I'm sure that if they just do maybe even a week, if they give him the strongest booking they can like tonight on Monday Night Raw, and just make him destroy some people, he can have it back straight away, literally. But I just don't know where he goes. Does he chase the title again? But if Brock Lesnar doesn't come back to a Survivor Series, rather, when I expect him to come back, then what does he do for a month? Go Roman Reigns again? No, we've already done that. Brock Lesnar's gone. John Cena faced him once, and John Cena looks like he's gone now. The way at the end of the match he waved goodbye to the crowd, gave a bow, had a thank you Cena chant, and he put his hand onto the sort of the Titantron wall thing as he walked back, and just sort of like, oh, this is the last time I touch this. Almost semi-retirement, shows he's definitely going away for a while, if not forever. And I'm certain it's not forever, but you know what I mean, I'm just saying it. But I don't think there is really anything he can do. He's gone for the Universal title now, and I don't think he suits any other title like the Intercontinental. So I don't know what he does. Maybe I think Samoa Joe's injured, can't go with him. Hope maybe he comes back. Maybe he has a feud with Finn Balor. That'd be pretty cool, like a mini feud. But who knows? Anyway, that's the end of this video today. Hope you guys have enjoyed it. And please remember, if you're new, to subscribe to the channel. After I spent 27 minutes doing this, and however long editing it, and I'm probably going to likely have to do more than one take, because I don't think I can edit this well enough, because I think it's had too many mistakes. But you know what? I just want to say thank you if you've sat through the entirety of this video, and I'm pretty sure not many people are, if any, judging by the amount of people that follow my channel. But if you do, I want to just say thank you so much for taking almost half an hour out of your day to sit here and watch one of my videos. And leave a comment. I guarantee you, I promise you, if you leave a comment on this video asking me any questions or something, I will 100% answer it. And if you want to do a collab maybe or something, you know what, hit me up and we can do it. Whether I can't have you here if I don't know you or something, we can do a Skype, we can do anything. Just get at me and we can have a conversation. But anyway, I hope you guys have enjoyed this video, and I will see you later. Bye.